Welcome to High Infidelity, the best cheating videos on YouTube. If you enjoy this content, remember to subscribe and turn on notifications. Now let's get into the video.
My 32 female, husband, 35 male, had an emotional affair with a minor. Who was his patient? I'm leaving, reporting him. But just now processing this. Just to set the stage, I'm going to meet with an attorney. Following that, I'm going to report him to the medical board, his hospital, and contact the girl's parents. This is horrible, and I'm embarrassed that it took me so long to recognize how revolting it is. There are other difficulties as well. However, this is what began the downhill spiral 6 months ago in February. Anyway, we were in Paris, and he was snapping selfies, but he booted me out. While we were in Paris, he was also messaging this girl, a 16-year-old cheerleader. I stole his phone and read everything on it. Their Facebook messages, he requested that she exclusively contact him over Facebook since it is safer. He only spoke to her while he was at work or late at night, very early in the morning, so I never noticed. I snipped it there. The issue is that we have 2 children. One is from a prior relationship. I get along well with my ex and his family, and we have a 4-year-old daughter together. So, over the course of 2 weeks, cod-free in Europe, he was able to persuade me that he was just assisting her through deortion. Nothing was mentioned, and no indecent photographs were shared. However, the chats were exceedingly improper and completely contradicted the doctor-patient relationship. It would have upset me considerably less if she had been 30, but I can't get over it because of her age. I still don't trust him, even though he believes I should be over it by now. But 16, I can't accept that. He might have selected an older lady his own age, but instead he chose a child. Next week, I'll visit a therapist and a divorce lawyer. I just need to get this off my chest since I haven't informed any of my friends about it. I'm sure this will crush the family as well since it's disgusting as hell. I'm sorry I remained this long and didn't report it straight away, but I was in such shock that the truth didn't sink in until now. Story 2. Worried emotional affair that ended marriage. Hello, I've been meaning to publish this for a long since I'm curious about what others think about it. It's a bizarre scenario, and it's been a really difficult year and a half for myself and my family. My 18-year-old wife casually informed me that a colleague was getting a vasectomy and asked what I felt about it. I expressed amazement that a colleague would be discussing such a sensitive matter at work, and she informed me that they had become pretty good friends. And then she smiled, a loving grin at remembering him. I sensed immediately away that something was wrong. So I waited till she was sleeping that night and examined her mails on her computer. She had been messaging this man for 3 months, it turned out. They went to a dinner at a mutual friend's house that my wife had informed me she would be attending. But just with her and a female friend she had failed to tell me about the colleague. In 2 weeks, I'll have to fly out of town to visit my family, and I'll be bringing my kid with me. It turns out she had planned to have lunch with this man, but he backed out at the last minute, which is benign in and of itself. But she was so upset by the cancellation that she planned to meet him on the waterfront, where his kid was doing rock climbing classes instead. In short, she was frantic to see him. She had friends around that afternoon, and they chatted about me and him. She claimed they were just friends, and with him and her other female friend, she could have all her wants satisfied. Well, nearly all her needs. She did comment that doesn't leave much for my spouse, however. She spoke about him and compared me to him, saying how he was such a fantastic talker and I'm not. At one point, she expresses how difficult it is for him to cancel on her, adding, "It's not like having a spouse on tap." So I sit and wait for a time, gaining access to her emails and observing their continued flirtation. I go up to her workplace and find the 2 of them smiling and laughing in the park. They eat lunch together every day. She leaves work early on a Thursday at 3 p.m. They go to a bar for 3 hours, and she walks him nearly all the way home before turning around and walking back into town for her Pilates session. The cover is perfect. They have a lengthy, 3-hour or more, lunch break together about once a month. I approach her and burst into tears. She denies everything and gives me liar after lie after lie. We ultimately end up in marital counseling, where the therapist tells me I need to give her space and she needs to reassure me. I've given her space for 6 months now, but I've received no assurances in return. In reality, she takes advantage of the space to spend more and more time with him. Eventually, the therapist informs her that she should put her relationship with this person on hold since it has made a lot of harm to your marriage. After a few days of silence, she requests that we discontinue visiting the marital counselor. She begs for more time till she can find a new therapist. Meanwhile, she has quit visiting her therapist after telling her everything. I'm not sure what everything comprises. Certainly a lot of things I'm not aware of, and the therapist was disappointed because it seemed like she was the bad person. She gets a second therapist and tells the new therapist about me yelling, being furious, restricting her movements, and so on, but not about the affair partner, so I seem to the new therapist to be a controlling and emotional abuser. The therapist makes an impromptu diagnosis of me as a typical narcissist, which provides my wife the reason she needs to split and appear to her friends and family as the decent person. The funny thing is, it's evident that this man doesn't feel the same way, and she seems to have ruined our whole marriage over what amounts to a schoolgirl infatuation. It's possible that he simply has a hazy understanding of the extent of her feelings for him. My mind is racing. She seems to still be madly in love with him, but she is now meeting people on Tinder since she is lonely and he has, a family and a wife. It's all odd as hell, but makes a sort of twisted logic, I suppose. Story 3. Poor communication is destroying my relationship. For the last 6 months, I've been in a relationship with Emma, 26F. We get along fine the overwhelming majority of the time. In my opinion, this is the perfect partnership in so many ways. I've never had anybody else check so many boxes, and I'd say I'm extremely pleased. The issue is that she does not communicate when she is unhappy with anything I am doing. She received a job offer a few days ago that would provide her with a raise as well as a terrific career opportunity. I was overjoyed for her until she told me she'd be traveling 5 days a week. My heart sunk, but I knew it may be beneficial to her, so I didn't say anything. She observed that I was a touch worried and inquired whether I'd be comfortable with the work. I assured her I'd be okay, and that I was happy for her. She inquired as to why I was nervous, and I said that I was thinking about how much I'd miss seeing her. She didn't say anything in response. The following day, she was discussing the work and highlighted the salary rate, which was lower than she had been informed since she had been employed as a trainee, in spite of her prior experience in the field. I became irritated and said that he was underbidding her. She hung up on me after accusing me of being always negative first. She ended up phoning her new employer and asking him to forget it. That wasn't brought up again until today, when she became irritated with me because I was late getting home from work. She had an appointment, but the driveway was blocked by the city. I told her what occurred and she dropped the matter, but she informed me that my persistent negative attitude was making her unhappy. She said that she disliked me because I forced her to quit her job, which I absolutely did not do. When she informed me she was about to, I told her that she shouldn't. She informed me that she's been spending a lot of time with her friends recently because she's been trying to avoid me. I apologized and said that I had no idea I was having that impact on her. I've done some soul searching and believe I understand what she's saying. That's something I can work on. It's not the end of the world. My issue is that I was unaware that her life is unhappy as a result of whatever I was doing. Nobody informed me until the gallows were already built. We both have PTSD and anxiety, and she suffers from depression. She does not react well to emotionally charged themes. I often feel like I have to walk on eggshells when I approach anything she does that makes me feel bad because she internalizes it and makes it about how much of a jerk she is. Typically, our arguments go like this. She's unhappy, we quarrel, she goes away, and brood, she returns, and like nothing happened. If I try to bring up the subject again, she becomes defensive, and we sometimes fight again. Nothing can ever be completely settled. I'm terrified that even if we solve this problem, she'll conceal her anger and I'll believe everything is good and joyful until she tips her hand and tells me how she really feels.